A very good morning, students. Welcome back to online session on programming for problem solving course. In our previous session, we have discussed some of the concepts in structures. Like we started the complex form of structures. We said we have four different types of complex forms of structures. The first one is nested structure. The second one, structure containing arrays. Third one, structure containing pointers, and the last one, fourth one, which is array of structures. So in that we have already discussed the first two concepts, the first two complex form of structures, that is nested structures as well as structures containing arrays. Okay, quickly I will go to that slide and I will do the explanation over there. So all these are basics in your structures. We have completed, previously. So this is my complex form of structures. So in that we said we have four different types as we discussed earlier. So let me just connect my writing pad. Okay, so we have already discussed nested structures and structures containing arrays, and in today's session we hopefully cover the structure containing pointers and array of structures. In that, I mean in this complex forms of structures, all these four forms, they are of important, so they can frame a question from any of these topics. But this array of structures, it is a damn sure question for 7 marks. It is an LAQ, long answer question. Okay, so in this particular concept you need to give importance to all these concepts, but don't go for the external exam without the preparation of this array of structures concept. It is a very, very, very important concept. So in today's session, that's why I'm giving more time to this particular concepts, these two concepts. In that, this array of structures, I will wind up like in 5 minutes. It is very easy. Already we did one such example previously when we did the example of, I think, on structures only, storing a student name, storing a student marks, storing student final marks. Like that we have done one example over there. Whatever name we are storing, we have declared it as a character pointer. Within a structure we declared it as a character pointer for name to store. So that character pointer is nothing but when you are making a structure field as a pointer, that is nothing but a structure containing pointer. So this we have already discussed. The same example once again I will explain over here, and with that we can go for the final concept, the last concept in structures concept, that is array of structures. It is a very important one. Basically they will frame an LAQ. So you must have to be ready with the preparation of this question, okay, for your external exams. So quickly we'll go to this structure containing pointers concept. So this thing, nested structures, we have already covered the first complex form of structures. The second complex form of structures is structures containing arrays. This also we discussed. So now structures containing pointers. So structures containing pointers, it is a third type of complex form of structures, we can say. It is also possible that we can put a structure, a pointer within a structure. So if you are having a structure, we said structure is nothing but it is a collection of uh, elements of different data types or collection of heterogeneous data element. So now pointer, when we are discussing about a pointer, pointer is also a type of field only, a type of data type only. So when we are declaring a structure, inside a structure you can even keep a pointer as well. Not only your primitive data types, your regular data types, but also you can have an array inside a structure, also a pointer inside a structure. See, whatever forms we have discussed so far, whatever programming constructs we have discussed so far, all those things indirectly we are keeping inside a structure. We kept a normal regular type of variable, then we kept a array inside a structure, then we kept a pointer. Now we are keeping a pointer also. Okay, we'll go further and we'll see what additional things we have inside this structures concept. So the following figure will demonstrate how you can keep a pointer inside a structure. So here, this entire thing we discussed already, this thing, the stamp structure, which is having two structures within it as nested, two structures as nested within it. Stamp structure, it is having date structure, it is having time structure. Inside the date structure, we are having month field, uh, day field and year field. So day field and year field we can store normal integers, okay, integer, and year also normal integer. But when it comes to month, I want the name to be printed, name of the month. Instead of giving integer value for month like 01 for January, 02 for February, I want the complete name, January, February, March. Likewise, I want it to be printed. So for that, what I have to do, I have to make the month as a string. Okay, I have to make this month as a string. For making this month as a string, I have two possibilities. One, I can go with character array. One, I can go with character array, and the other one is I can go with character pointer. Okay, character pointer. Character array form of strings we discussed many times. We have done complete string manipulation functions on this character array form of strings. So now we do with character pointer strings. We can also create a string in our C program with the help of a character pointer. This phenomenon we have already discussed. Strings, we don't have any specific type to create strings in C language. So what we have to do, we have to depend on either a character pointer or a character array. The difference between a character array and a string, that is also one of the important 2 marks question which we have already discussed. Okay, so here time is another nested structure, and for storing this time we need hour, minutes and seconds, and I'm making all these as integers only. I'm not taking anything other than that. So quickly we'll demonstrate this um, program, I mean this example program. See over here, when I'm creating date, I'm taking my month as a character pointer. Character star means character pointer. Month I'm taking like a character pointer. Day and year I'm taking like integers. This is my date structure. From here to here, this is my date structure. Then I'm declaring, yeah, only one I'm taking. If you want, you can take the time also. Because in time I'm not taking any pointer, as you can see over here in this particular time I'm not taking any pointer variable, so I'm not taking this thing into consideration. So I have taken only stamp, and within that stamp I have declared this date structure, and in that date structure I have taken 3 fields. So now what I'm doing, I'm declaring my stamp structure. So inside stamp, what I'm doing, I'm creating a variable of this date type, this date type inside stamp structure, that I'm doing over here. Next, I'm creating a variable of stamp structure. Okay, I'm creating a variable of stamp structure. So now how I can initialize this month field, this month field of a structure from this date, in the sense, first I need to qualify with a variable, then I need a stamp variable, then I need to qualify with date variable, then the field name. So here stamp dot date dot field name. Stamp is my outer structure name, outer layer name. Date is my inner structure name, and month is the field of your date structure. So this is how I can initialize the month. Okay, not only like this, I can initialize all these fields. So when we do program, we'll try to initialize all these fields, and we'll try to print all these fields on the output screen. Hopefully we go and we see how we do this one. So quickly go to my IDE. I'm going to my IDE, open a new file. So source file. So I'm start narrating my program. So that is for uh, pointers within structures, or structures containing pointers. Okay, structures containing pointers. So over here just write that one, hash include stdio.h. Then declare your structure, type def struct, uh, yes, my structure containing character star month. Okay, then int day, int month, day, year. Okay, so then my structure name I am giving like stamp. So the next thing I need to create, sorry, this is not stamp, this is date. This is date. So using, I want to nest that date structure into stamp. So type def struct, yes, inside it create a variable of type date. Okay, so that's it. Here you call this structure as stamp. Second structure. Now go to your int main of void, and in it you put create in the local area. I am creating the stamp structure data type, sorry, variable. So stamp of st, stamp of st. So now how I can initialize this one, equals to put all the variables, put all the elements. So within that we have this. Okay, so what is my first field? That is month. So I have to give like any month, January, and give the day 8th of January. Sorry, 08 it will not accept, so we have to give 8. Then because if you give 08 it will consider it as an octal value. So then 8, then we have year, so that year I am giving 1987. So at the end put the semicolon, then print this one, printf, print all the values. Like I want to event date. What are they? First thing percentile s. First thing we need to print, sorry, day you print percentile d, then percentile um, s, then percentile d again. So how we can pass all those elements? So month, first we need to pass the day. So st dot date dot month. Okay, then comma st dot date dot uh, month. The first one is day actually, not month. First one is day. So then month we are printing, and finally we need to print st dot date dot year. So like this we are printing all my structure fields. Okay, all the fields from the structure. So now what we have to do? Simply save this program. Okay, so this I'm giving sample.c. Overwrite the stuff. Now compile it. Yes, no issues. Then run it. As you can see, we got the event date as we have printed. First we said we need to print the day, then month, then year, 8th January 1987. So in this, the month field what we have taken, is my pointer. So inside a structure we declared a pointer, defined a pointer, and also we did the initialization and we printed the value on the output screen. So in this way you can also have a pointer variable as an internal part of your structure. So this is the concept of structures containing pointers, a complex form of structures. Okay, structures containing pointers. Hope this gave the explanation to you for that concept. So quickly go and see the last and most important part of your structures, that is array of structures. Definitely you will get an LAQ from this one, array of structure. So this we have done the demonstration. See, program to demonstrate structures containing pointers. Already we did it. So the next thing is array of structures. Okay. Yeah, we come across many situations where we need to create an array of structures. Okay, so suppose in a classroom we'll be having like 60 students, and if you're developing an application, a C program, a C application to manage the data of your entire class. So generally, when you store the data inside a variable, so what will happen? You can store at most only one piece of data. But when we are talking about a student details, student will have his name, student will have his ID, that is nothing but your roll number, student will have his address, his contact number, his email ID, and his marks. Okay, his performance, academic performance, and if he's having any extracurricular activities where he performed, that also you can store. So for storing all these different types of data, definitely we have to go for structures, because by using any other form of I mean programming construct like variable arrays, we cannot achieve this one, isn't it? We cannot achieve maintaining the details of a student in our application. So definitely your details of a student or information related to a student, it is heterogeneous. It is going to have different forms of data. Like when we talk about student name, it is a string. So that string, how you can achieve? In two different ways you can achieve: by using a character array, or you can also go with character pointer, that is string. Then when we are talking about his ID, that also, if it is not having any characters in it, then we can go with integers. Integers only 30, 32, 37, 32,000 something we said. So definitely we have to go for a long integer, isn't it? Long integer, or long integer which satisfies that complete ID range. Because if you might have seen your college ID, that is nothing but college roll number provided by the university or provided by the institution. It is a 11 digit 11 digit number, numerical, 11 digit numerical. So that long numerical we cannot store in an integer. So definitely we have to go for long integer to get an extended range, isn't it? To get an extended range. So again, next thing is your internal marks. Let us suppose if we are maintaining internal marks. So if, yeah, internal marks generally we give in as a round figure value, isn't it? From 1 to 20. So you can take all internal marks as an um, integer value. And moreover, we are not conducting one internal, we are conducting two internals. So two related integer variables we need, one to store the mid 1 marks and one to store the mid 2 marks. So if you are declaring two variables of same type, then it is better to go for an array, isn't it? It is better to go for an array, integer array. So like this, first we have character array or character pointer, now we have integer array. And for storing ID, again character array. So likewise we said. So the next thing is external marks, that also you can take in terms of because your CGPA many times how it will come? It will come in decimals. Okay, it will come in precision. So definitely we have to go for your float or double type of variable. So like this we can maintain a student record in our application by using a structure, because student details are heterogeneous types. To store that heterogeneous data elements definitely as a single entity, definitely we have to go for structures concept. Okay, so for one student it is okay, we can create a structure and we can create a variable of one variable of that structure. So like how we created the student structure previously, and to store the information related to one student we need to create only one variable. But now we are talking about 60 students. In a class we are having 60 students. So how many variables we need? How many structure variables we need? We need 60 structure variables. Again, if you are giving different names to all these structure variables, there is an ambiguity of remembering all those structure variables. So instead of giving different names to your structure variables, what we can do? Again, we can go for arrays. How these arrays are helping us? Simply in order to avoid naming conflict. In order to avoid naming conflict, when you are giving names to your identifiers, we are going for structures, because structures are giving the easiest way of accessing the variables and naming the variables, isn't it? Again, in structures concept, when we are maintaining student details, if it is one student, we are creating only one variable of structure type. But if you are storing your entire class details of 60 students, then we need to create 60 different variables to store 60 different student records. But again, if you are creating 60 different variables, there is an ambiguity of remembering the name, there is an ambiguity in accessing the structure variables. So to avoid this ambiguity, to avoid this confusion, what we can do, we can go for an array of structures. So here again, all 60 structure variables under one common name. All 60 structure variables under one common name. And how we are going to differentiate the individual students under one common name, in the sense by using the index. How we have differentiated variables in an array? By using index. Okay, we'll give subscript followed by the index. Within subscript we'll give index, and that is how we are differentiating the array elements. So here also, when we are creating a array of structures, so we are going to differentiate each and individual structure variable with the help of index only. Okay, being an array, it will act like an array only. So how we can differentiate? By simply giving the index, we can differentiate the structure array elements, structure array elements. So that thing we are discussing over here, array of structures concept, and it is a vast concept basically. I have minimized the stuff, and they are never going to ask any theory related to this one. They will ask only the programs related to this array of structures concept. I have I mean scrutinized many previous year university question papers, and I have never seen any concept related to this array of structures. I have seen only the programs, and that programs also every time they are asking in a different way. Don't expect that whatever in they asked previously, the same thing they will ask now also. So what they are doing, every time they are creating the logic in a different way. So we need to be good in logic so that we should be answerable whatever type of question they will ask. Okay, hopefully we'll do that type of preparation and will be ready for the exam in that way only. Okay, so quickly see this one, the same concept here I kept in these 3 points. So in many situations, array of structures can be created, and I have explained the situation. To manage a group of students in a classroom, we are going for array of students structures. Okay, by putting all the data, all the related data into a structure, it will become more flexible and easy to work with the data. So the concept of creating an array is nothing but to have the flexibility in accessing. Okay, to calculate sum, to calculate average, or to create instances, all these things we are achieving with the help of array of structures. So quickly we go and we see with the help of simple example. So that demonstration here you can see. So I said, okay, of course, in our classrooms we are having 60 students. So here what I am doing, I am creating an array of structures of 50 students. So here you can see this first record. So this is nothing but your array of structures. So where every element is going to have an entire structure. So this is my 0th index, first index, second index, and so on. As we said, 50 elements. So this is my 50th index, sorry, 49th index, because index will start from 0 to n minus 1, that is maximum size minus 1. So here you can see how we can access individual structures, individual structure variables from these array, in the sense student of 0 will give the 0th student, that is first student. Student of 1 will give the second student, and so on. Student of 49 will give the 50th student, the last student. Now maybe this is my name. Okay, this is my mid marks of 3, mid marks of, because we are storing 3 mid marks of 3, and this is my mid marks of final. This is last one. So now how we can access the individual elements from these individual fields from these structures. Suppose if you want to access the name of first student, name of first student, that is student of 0. So how we can access? So here as you can see, the array name I have given student array, stuary. That is my identifier. So stuary of 0 dot name, dot name, because this is my accessing, this is my name of the student 0. How you access these mid marks? So this is quite interesting, how you access the mid marks. So mid marks, once again, it is an array. It is having three different mid marks: first mid, second mid, and third mid. So how you can access first mid marks? So that to access first mid mark, how we do? Student array of 0. So first student, first mid marks we are accessing. So student 0 dot mid marks of 0. Mid marks of 0. Likewise, how you access the second mid marks of first student? First student dot mid marks of 1. How you access the third mid marks? Student array of 0 dot mid marks of 2. Like this you can access the third mid marks. How you access the final marks, final grade of the student? So how you can? Student array of 0 dot final. Like this you can access all the elements from this first structure using stry of 0. Suppose if you want to access the first student, so second student, simply make this 0 as 1. Third student, simply make this 0 as 2. Likewise you can access all the elements. Or suppose if you want to run a loop and if you want to access all the elements, if you want to run a loop and if you want to access all the elements, what we do? We simply make it as a student array of 0, student array of I, so that I will run inside a loop, so that you can access all 50 students in one shot. So without writing repeated code, we can use a loop, and we can use, in place of index, we can use the array loop counter. So quickly we go and we demonstrate this program. This program is an important program, and it is an easy program as well. So if you access, if you understood the concept what I have explained just now, it is very easy for you to narrate the program. So how I am doing? So simply start the program, hash include, okay, stdio.h. Now you declare your student structure, type def struct, okay. So I am taking character star name to store the name of the student, then integer mid marks of 3, because we are storing 3 midterm marks, then float of final marks. So like this. So my structure name is student. Then go to int main of void. How many students I need? 60 students I need. So student of stdary, student array, stdary of 60 student details. Now I can store inside this stdary. So individually I don't want to store, so what I will do is I will take one loop. So to run the loop I need a counter, that is I. So printf enter information of students, enter information of students. So here just I'm doing some formatting, or instead of enter student information, what we can put here? Student information system. Student, it is something like an application we are developing now. Student information system, or welcome to student information system, okay. Welcome to student information system, okay. At the end put the semicolon. Now go to the loop. For all I equals to 0, I must be less than 50, sorry 60, we are reading 60 students now. I must be less than 60, then I plus plus. Okay, in it what we are doing, yeah, open the bracket, then uh, yes, we need to read the student details. So what I will do is stdary, student array of I, so that is 0th student dot id, his id, yes, id we have not taken, right? So you can take the roll number as well. So just go here, because roll number is something which we identify uniquely, isn't it? So that roll number I'm taking an integer type of value, integer id. Okay, so now I have 4 fields. So dot, again you put dot, yeah, it will give id, id equals to this id. I'm not letting the end user to give input. So what I am doing, I'm assigning 1000 plus I. So the first person's roll number will start from, okay, it should start from 1001, right? So roll number 1 we don't have roll number 0. So 1001. First student ID will become 1001. Second student ID will become 1002, 1003, 1004. Likewise up to 60. 1060 will get. So the next thing, we need to ask the end user to enter, yes, and roll number is over, right? Enter name of percentile D. Okay, enter name of percentile D. That's it, percentile D. So that name is nothing but stdary of I dot id. Yes. So we are asking whatever ID we have initialized, for that ID we are asking the name. So here the end user will input that name, right? So or we can do a lot of things over here. Just you just try to understand this what I am doing over here. You can do more formatting over here. Okay, enter percentile D student details, like that also you can write. Enter percentile D student details. Okay, so enter percentile D student details. Here you put backslash n, so that you will get this thing in a new line. Okay, so next thing, printf uh, backslash n, enter. Okay, here you put backslash tab as well, backslash tab, enter name. Okay, we are asking for name, so read that name, scanf percentile s comma stdary of I dot, in name we are reading. Okay, put the semicolon. Then we need to read the marks. Okay, 3 mid marks, 3 midterm marks. You can use a loop over there, or don't complicate the stuff. Yes, only 3 times we have to iterate. So if you want, you can take another variable j and you can iterate. That also you can do if you have more number of subjects. As we have only 3 midterm marks we are reading, I'm not going for any loop, directly I'm reading. Printf, after reading the name, printf enter uh, 3 mid marks, 3 mid marks. Okay, so here only you have to enter. So scanf, how you can read, how many percentile is 3 percentile is, because we are reading 3 things. So put the comma. So first midterm, how you can access, stdary of I dot mid marks of 0. So this is my first mid marks. Same thing, stdary of I dot mid marks of 1. So second mid marks, then third mid marks, stdary of I dot mid marks of 2. That's it. 3 mid marks we have already. So now, yes, after reading 3 mid marks, printf enter CGPA, something you will get now. Enter CGPA. Okay, so that we need to read scanf. It is a float value. Scanf. All these things you put percentile. Enter name. After that, enter backslash. Okay, like this. Then and backslash n backslash tab. That is just formatting I'm doing. So percentile f for reading CGPA. So how you can store that CGPA? What variable we said over there? Final we said, na? So instead of final, you take CGPA only. CGPA. So store that CGPA now. How you can store? stdary of I dot CGPA. That's it. So for all these things, what I have to do? I forgot one thing. Inside scanf, we cannot pass the what we call, only in case of name you don't have to use ampersand, but rest of the things we need to pass addresses. So what I have to do? Ampersand midmarks 0, ampersand midmarks 1, ampersand midmarks 2. So for CGPA also I need to put 1 ampersand. So that's it. Reading is over. So now just do the separation before you printf backslash, and a new line we are going, and at the end put the semicolon. So now after this loop, what we have to do? We need to print. Okay, we need to print the information of all the students. Okay, so printf uh, displaying information backslash n displaying information of students. So like this you take simple message I'm taking. So put backslash n here also, and you want it more clarity, here you can give 1 star, and in the beginning also you can give 1 star. Go to the end, semicolon. So now what we have to do? Take the loop once again. For all I equals to 0, again we have to start from the beginning. I must be less than 60, I plus plus. Okay, so now printf, print the roll number. Print the roll number, that is backslash n roll number colon percentile d. Okay, comma, what we have to? stdary of I dot id. id we are printing. Then name, printf backslash n name. Okay, name colon percentile s we need to put here, also give space, s we need to put, comma, stdary of I dot name. Okay, then print midterm marks, 3 subject marks. Printf marks, take backslash marks colon, how many marks? 3 marks, percentile d, percentile d, percentile d, comma, stdary of I dot mid marks of 0. Okay, next thing, stdary of I dot mid marks of 1, Okay, then comma stdary of I dot mid marks of 2. So like this we are printing all the marks. Then CGPA printf backslash n CGPA colon percentile f comma stdary of I comma CGPA. Like this you can read 60 student details and you can print 60 student details. Save the program. Program got saved. Now do compilation. Yes, no errors. So now how many student details I'm reading? 60 student details I'm reading, and 60 student details at the same time I'm printing on the output screen. So when you compile and execute this program, it will ask you to enter how many details? It will ask you to enter 60 student details, because this loop will iterate 60 times. And when this loop will exit after reading 60 student details, like for every student we have to input the no, we don't have to input the ID because we are initializing within the program itself. But for other details, like for name we have to read 60 student names, then we have to read 3 midterm marks of 60 students, and we have to read CGPA of 60 students. So like that it will take a lot of time before I give all those 60 student details, before I feed all those 60 student details to my application. So I don't want that one. So rather what I will do, I will simply make it as 3 only. I will read only 3 student details. That's more than enough. In your exam, they will specifically mention you to write a program to read 60 students. So there what you have to do, here you have to put 60. Because writing is different and executing and showing the output is different, isn't it? So for execution and showing the output, I will read only 3 student details. Writing, it will not take anything, isn't it? You no need to give the input of all 60 students. You simply give the output of only 2 or 3 students, and simply you put the continuation at the end. Okay, so like that you can read. Only 1 or 2 student details you read in your external exam also when you are showing the output. Don't show the output of all 60 students, because if you show the output of all 60 students, it will take your complete booklet, and it will take a lot of time also to write all those things. So don't go for such a stupid thing in your exam. So write the program for 60 student details to read and to print, but when you are writing the output, write only 2 student details. That's more than enough. Input 2 student details and output 2 student details. That's more than enough. Nobody will expect you to write all 60 student details over there. Of course, in the program they will ask, specifically they mention, they just check your intellectuality, how you are going to act on it. Okay, this program definitely they will ask. If you go and check the previous year question papers, you will definitely find this type of program. Okay, so here instead of, yeah, I have written previously, I have written the program for reading 60 student details, but now when I'm executing my program, I'm reading only 3 students, and I'm printing only 3 students, because reading 60 student details, it is a time consuming process, and I don't want to do that much, I don't want to pay that much effort over here. Okay, so simply save it now, because printing 3 students, printing 60 students, it both are same. So I will go compile. As you can see, compilation is successful. Now run. See how nicely I am getting the output. Welcome to student information system. So this is something like an application only. Welcome to student information system. Enter 1001 student details. So 1001 ID, from where it is calculating, within the program it is calculating, and it is giving me to input the details of 1001 student. So it is asking me to input the name over here. So I will give the name like Albert. Albert. Okay, then hit the enter. It is asking me to input 3 subject marks, 3 mid marks. So first mid he got like 19, second mid he got like 17, third mid he got like 20, let us assume. Then hit the enter key. It is asking me CGPA. So he got the CGPA like 86.7%. Okay, so then hit the enter key. It is asking me, I mean second student, it is asking me the enter 1002 student details. Okay, I'm giving the name as John. Okay, okay, there is some issue has come across when I'm entering second student details. It is not reading. Okay, because a reading name, it is a complicated thing in your application. So what I will do is I will simply remove that name, rather I will read only the ID. So because of that only we are getting the issue over here, it seems. Instead of pointer, take it as a array and check. Take it as an array. I will take this thing as an array. So array of 20 characters. Now save it. So now go compile. So run it. We'll see now. Same thing. Enter name. I'm giving Albert. Then enter three subject marks. 19 space 17 space 20. Okay. Enter CGPA 86.7. Hit enter. Yeah, it is asking me second student details. So I'm inputting John. Yes, it is taking now. So 17, 16, 15. So CGPA again it is asking. So 80, not 80, 67.4. Hit enter. It is asking me the third student details, third student name it is asking. So I'm making it as Robert. Hit enter. It is asking me second student third student three subject marks. So I'm giving like 12, 11 and 16. So CGPA around 58.7. Hit enter. See, when I have whatever I have given as input from here to here, three student details. First student name Albert. Albert 19, 17, 20, 86.7. Here we got that one. 1001. Student roll number is 1001. His name is Albert, 19, 17, 20, and 86.69997. So sometimes what will happen, whatever this decimal precision value we are taking, it will round up because some garbage value it is going to have CGPA. Because we are giving only one digit over here, the rest of the digits it will take from that garbage value. Hopefully you understood. So we are giving only one digit 7, so 86.7 we are giving. So that 7 it is round figuring it as like 6.69997. Okay, likewise. So second roll number John, we have given the name as John and subject mark 17, 16, 15, and we have given 67.4, so it is printing 67.4. Other than that it is giving 2 also. This extra thing we are getting from garbage, remember that one. So last roll number 1003, I have given the name like Robert and 12, 11, 16 marks and 58.7 we have given the CGPA, but it is showing 0001 as well. So this extra thing from garbage value. So this is something like a student information system. You can make a lot of changes in this one. You can make the stuff permanent. That how we can do in your fifth unit. We will study. Like in your fifth unit already we have completed the pointers concept. We left with only files concept. That very soon we are going to wind up. Files are the main to maintain the information permanently in your application. Okay, hopefully you understood this what we call array of structures concept. This is the last concept in your structures, and with this we are concluding structures. So in your fourth unit we still left with the recursion and unions concept. Immediately, I mean in my next session I will begin with unions concept, and after that we also complete recursion. Union and recursion one class, and then we'll go with files. That files concept another two classes. So in 3 or 4 classes hardly I am going to wind up this stuff as well. Hopefully. Thank you very much, students.